All right, so we've done everything with setting up our vendor center. Now we're going to get ready to, we've got a bill that came in from the vendor that we just set up. Now there's a couple of different ways that we can pay our vendors. We can either create a bill in the system, and that is our accounts payable. We're waiting to pay them. We can pay them with a check, or we can create an expense. This is paying them with a MasterCard, Visa, American Express, any credit card that we have and set up in the system. We can also use debit cards with our expenses. That's what those are for. But we're going to create a bill. So that's our point now, is that we're going to create this bill. Now, once this comes up, we're going to go ahead and bring in the vendor. So we're going to bring in the dirt company, and the dirt company sent us some dirt, and so we're going to go ahead and put this into job materials. And we bought $250 worth of dirt. Now we're going to go in, and we're going to close this. Make sure you've got your bill and your due date there. You can see that's net 30. If I did not change that, I left it for today, then the bill is going to calculate for today. So make sure you put the bill date from your vendor in there. I'm going to now come in and pay my bill. And you can see I can choose all the bills that I want to pay. And I can choose how I'm going to pay these. So if I want to pay with a MasterCard or my checking account. Now we're going to choose our checking account, and we're going to say print later. We're going to save this, and we're going to close this. Now when we get ready to print everything, when we do say print later, we're going to come down to our print checks. You're going to need to get either the standard or the voucher style of QuickBooks checks. So make sure you get those checks. You can get them from Intuit. There are many other places that you can get them. Just make sure that they are Intuit checks. Once you finish with the setup, then you are all set to go ahead and print those checks. We put the check number in here that we start with. Always double check to make sure that your check number does match what printed, does match what is in your QuickBooks. It's really going to help with your bank feed area. Then we preview and we print. Pretty easy, right? Now, if we create a bill, we always need to pay it with the pay bill area. Never use a check or an expense if you have created a bill, because that bill is going to stay out there, and then we're going to duplicate our expenses. So we don't want to do that. Now, the other way that we can pay for something is with a check. So let's go ahead and bring up a check. And our bookkeeper, we've got to pay them. And so we're going to say Books by Bessie. We're going to be doing a lot more of this ourselves, right? Now this is pre-filling, but you can see this is the account. So the expense account that we're choosing. And the last time it was $55. So we're going to leave it at $55, but we can change that amount. Now we're going to go ahead and save and close that. If we are printing this check right now, we can print it from here. So just click on Print Check. If we want to print it later, you can see right there, we can say Print Later and go to that same area that we printed our bills. So it's all going to be sitting there. Now the last way that you can pay for something is through your expenses. And you're going to use this for credit card payments. And so let's take a look at that. Now, the other way that we actually do pay for things that we might be using in this area, and we're going to say Bob's Burgers right here. So we went to Bob's Burgers. And if we use our MasterCard, we can go ahead and pull that in. But we use another form sometimes known as our debit card, right? So we can choose a debit. If it is our MasterCard, make sure that we are changing this MasterCard here and then make sure that you're bringing it out of the right account. So with our debit card, that comes out of our checking. With our MasterCard, it always is our credit card that we have set up in our chart of accounts. And we'll see when we get through to the banking how to set those up. Go ahead and choose, instead of this, ACH. So if we're paying with something with an ACH, we can go ahead and put ACH as a payment method from our checking account. We're going to say debit here though. Go ahead and choose meals and entertainment. And we spent $12 at Bob's Burger Joint. And then we're going to go ahead and save and close this. So quick, easy ways to recognize what your expenses are. So if you're entering them yourself, you're either going to enter a bill and pay that bill, an expense, or a check if you're paying right away. You always, if you're using the accrual system, you always want to remember to use your bills because at the end of the year, it's going to account for all those expenses. So it's going to bring down that total profit and loss. That's important for tax time. All right. The next thing we're going to look at in the next video is how to apply credits for your vendor.